When I was younger, I thought wealth had a sound. It sounded like applause. It sounded like notifications. It sounded like someone saying, "You made it." I believed wealth looked like a number on a screen. A salary increase, a business milestone, a bank balance that made me feel safe. But I didn't realize something important. The number kept changing, and so did my peace. Today, I want to tell you a story, not about becoming rich, but about discovering what wealth really means, because true wealth is peace of mind. A few years ago, I set a financial goal that felt massive to me. I told myself, when I reach this number, I'll finally relax. So I worked. Long hours, late nights, weekends that didn't feel like weekends. I said no to rest. I said no to friends. I said yes to every opportunity that promised growth. And eventually, I hit the number. I remember the moment clearly. I checked my account. There it was. For a few minutes, I felt powerful. But the next morning, I woke up anxious. Because now I was thinking, how do I maintain this? How do I grow it? What if I lose it? The number changed, but my mind didn't rest. That's when I realized something uncomfortable. I wasn't chasing wealth. I was chasing relief. And relief is temporary. Peace is different. We live in a generation that has more access to opportunity than any before us. You can build a business from your bedroom. You can invest from your phone. You can learn anything online. And yet, we are more restless than ever. Why? Because we are constantly comparing. You scroll and see someone your age buying a house, another launching a startup, another traveling the world. You don't see their loans. You don't see their stress. You don't see the arguments they have at night. You see the highlight. And comparison steals peace faster than poverty ever could. I learned this the hard way. There was a period where every financial win felt small because someone else was doing better. It didn't matter that I was progressing. It mattered that I wasn't ahead. That mindset is exhausting, and exhaustion is not wealth. There was one night I'll never forget. I had money in my account, projects lined up, growth ahead, but I couldn't sleep. My mind kept calculating. What if the market drops? What if clients leave? What if this success disappears? I realized I had built income, but I hadn't built emotional security. I was financially improving, but mentally fragile. That night I asked myself a different question. What would it take to feel calm, even if everything slowed down? That question changed everything. Most people define wealth as accumulation, more income, more assets, more status. But accumulation without alignment creates pressure. So I began redefining wealth. Wealth became having an emergency fund that lets you breathe, having skills that no one can take from you, having expenses low enough that you're not trapped, having values strong enough that you don't chase everything. I started focusing on stability instead of speed. And something unexpected happened. My stress decreased, and ironically, my financial decisions improved. Because decisions made from calm are smarter than decisions made from fear. I once met someone who earned far more than I did. Luxury car, high-end lifestyle, constant upgrades, but every conversation circled back to money anxiety. Markets are unstable. Competition is rising. I need to scale faster. He had income, but he didn't have peace. On the other hand, I met someone else. Modest lifestyle, simple apartment, consistent investments, no flashy displays. He slept well. He wasn't obsessed. He had margin. That's when I understood. Rich is external. Wealthy is internal. Rich can disappear overnight. Wealth, real wealth, is how stable you remain when things fluctuate. Let me break this down clearly. 1. Financial clarity. Peace of mind begins with understanding your money. Know your numbers. Track your spending. Build savings. Avoid unnecessary debt. Uncertainty creates anxiety. Clarity creates control. When you know exactly where you stand, fear reduces. Not because you have millions, but because you have awareness. 2. Emotional detachment from status. One of the biggest breakthroughs in my journey was separating identity from income. I am not my bank account. I am not my monthly revenue. I am not my net worth. When income rises, I am still me. When income drops, I am still me. That detachment protects your mental stability. Because if your worth depends on performance, you will live in constant pressure. 3. Gratitude in the present. Ambition is powerful, but without gratitude, ambition becomes endless dissatisfaction. There was a time I achieved goals I once prayed for and barely celebrated them. Because I had already moved the target. Peace returned when I slowed down and acknowledged progress. Gratitude stabilizes ambition. It reminds you that growth is happening, even if you're not at the final destination. For young people feeling behind. If you're in your 20s or early 30s and feel behind, let me say this clearly. You are not late. You are not failing. You are building. Social media compresses timelines. It makes 10-year journeys look like overnight success, but sustainable wealth takes time. Rushing increases risk. Comparing increases insecurity. And insecurity leads to poor financial decisions. Peaceful wealth grows steadily, not dramatically. After that sleepless night, I made practical changes. I built a stronger emergency fund. I reduced unnecessary expenses. I diversified income. I stopped upgrading my lifestyle every time income increased. But more importantly, I reduced mental noise. Less comparison, less proving, more intentional living. And slowly, something shifted. I still wanted success, but I no longer needed it to validate me. That shift is freedom. Money is powerful. It can buy comfort. It can buy time. It can solve certain problems, but it cannot buy inner calm. If you are constantly anxious, more money may increase responsibility, not peace. Peace comes from living below your means, having margin, being prepared, trusting your ability to adapt. When money becomes a tool instead of a scoreboard, your relationship with it transforms. True wealth feels like sleeping deeply, saying no without fear, taking a break without guilt, helping others without expectation, enjoying small moments without checking your phone. It's quiet confidence. It's not loud success. It's knowing that even if life shifts, you are stable inside. That stability is priceless. I used to think peace would come after success. Now I understand. Peace must come before success, because peace guides better decisions. Peace protects relationships. Peace prevents burnout. Peace allows you to enjoy what you build. And if you build wealth without peace, you'll spend your wealth trying to recover your health and happiness. So build both. Grow financially, invest wisely, work hard, but protect your mind like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. Let me tell you something I don't usually say out loud. There was a moment in my journey when I almost lost everything I had worked for. Not because I was reckless, not because I was lazy, but because I was stretched too thin. I said yes to every opportunity. I scaled too fast. I reinvested aggressively. I tied my identity to growth. And then something unexpected happened. A contract ended. Revenue dipped. Uncertainty hit. Nothing catastrophic, but enough to shake me. And what scared me wasn't the temporary financial drop. What scared me was how unstable I felt inside. My mood changed with my income. My confidence changed with my performance. My sense of worth changed with numbers on a screen. That's when I realized, if your peace depends on perfect conditions, you are not wealthy. You are fragile, and fragility is expensive. Because it costs you sleep, it costs you relationships, it costs you health. That period forced me to slow down, to simplify, to rebuild, not just financially, but mentally. I began asking different questions. What if growth was steady instead of explosive? What if freedom was more important than status? What if calm was a sign of success? And slowly, I rebuilt. Not just income, but structure, margin, resilience. I stopped chasing applause. I started protecting energy. I stopped upgrading lifestyle every time revenue increased. I started upgrading discipline instead. And here's the beautiful irony. When I stopped obsessing over money, I made better financial decisions because I was no longer acting from fear. Peace sharpened my judgment. Calm improved my strategy. Stability increased my confidence. That's when it truly clicked. Peace of mind is not the reward of wealth. It is the foundation of it. If I could sit down with my younger self, the one obsessed with proving something, I would say this. You don't need to rush. You don't need to impress people who aren't building your future. You don't need to sacrifice your health to feel valuable. Build slowly. Build intelligently. Build sustainably. Because fast money with a fragile mind is not freedom. It's pressure disguised as success. And pressure eventually cracks. But calm compounds. Just like investments. Small, consistent habits. Steady discipline. Emotional control. Over time, they create something powerful. Unshakable confidence. There's a type of wealth nobody posts about. The wealth of having zero consumer debt. Having 6 months of expenses saved. Being able to walk away from toxic work. Having dinner without checking your phone. Sleeping deeply without financial fear. It's not flashy, it won't go viral, but it feels incredible. Because when your nervous system is calm, your life expands. You think clearer, you choose better, you love better, you lead better, and that is the multiplier effect of peace. So tonight, I want you to reflect on one question. Are you building wealth, or are you building pressure? Look at your habits. Are they sustainable? Look at your goals. Are they aligned with your values? Look at your lifestyle. Is it designed for long-term stability or short-term validation? Because at the end of your life, you will not measure success by revenue charts. You will measure it by how present you were, how calm you felt, how meaningful your relationships were, how much unnecessary suffering you avoided. And none of that requires luxury. It requires clarity. True wealth is peace of mind. It is waking up without dread. It is earning money without worshiping it. It is growing without losing yourself. It is wanting more without feeling incomplete. So yes, build your income, invest wisely, take risks, dream big. But protect your mind as fiercely as you protect your money. Because markets fluctuate, careers shift, opportunities change. But a disciplined, calm, grounded mind, that is recession-proof. That is competition-proof. That is comparison-proof. And if this message resonated with you, if you are someone who wants to grow financially without sacrificing your inner stability, then this channel is for you. Here, we don't just talk about making money, we talk about building sustainable wealth. We talk about mindset. We talk about discipline. We talk about designing